How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We have the market pumping here today with a lot of cryptos up 5, 10, 20%. And we'll be going through why that's happening right now, in addition to what's happening this week and a warning. Now, I realize whenever you say something kind of contradicting the general market tone or the sentiment in the market, you get a lot of people giving hate in the comment section. This is not clickbait. I'm actually going to give you a warning later on in the video, so stay through to that. But it is nice to see some green in the market. We've seen so many red days recently, and you can see Bitcoin up 2%, while the rest of the market is up much more. I mean, the overall market's up 3%, Bitcoin obviously being like almost half of the market right now, 40%. So a lot of other altcoins up more substantially than Bitcoin. We're looking at 24.5% for Solana. A lot of other metaverse and AI tokens up even more than that. Now, Bitcoin rose above the 50-day moving average here, which we've seen in the past several times. And right after that happened, we saw pretty big drops. So be careful of that. That's not my warning, but that is something that you have to pay attention to. We haven't been able to stay above it for more than a week or a week and a half. If we get above this 100-day EMA, that will be much more substantial, because the last time we saw that was in November, just for a few days when we pumped up to about 22,000. But before that, we hadn't seen it since March or April of 2021. So that would be a step in the right direction. If we get up to about 18,000, 19,000, that would put us above that EMA. And then hopefully we could hold it. The Bitcoin valuation is going up, or the Bitcoin chart is going up, but we also have Ethereum going up substantially more than Bitcoin. You can see this on the Bitcoin chart. We had kind of a breakout about a week ago from a trend line that we had seen us be rejected at several times, and now, a nice big pump above it. Now, if you like these charts, you can check out the link underneath the video to TradingView. They'll give you $30 off when using that link if you do want to pay for it. Otherwise, you can just check out the website. I think it's great for charting, and it's really easy to navigate to different assets. So check that out underneath the video. Now, not only is crypto up, we also have stocks up. Tesla's up 8.4% here today, and a lot of other stocks are up as well. We have the NASDAQ up 2% overall. Now, why is this all happening? Well, I said this in the Patreon this morning. I said the pre-market is quite green and crypto is green as well. There are a few reasons for this. First of all, wage growth last week was lower than expected. We talked about that last Friday. Wage growth is slowing down substantially, even though we do have some new jobs coming in. Overall, wage growth coming down will decrease inflation over the long term. Also, passengers that are entering China will no longer have to quarantine or take COVID tests on arrival. So China is essentially opening back up for the world. This was just announced, and this is going to happen Sunday, this change. Now, we do have a couple big events this week that could definitely change the sentiment in the market or push it even further in the bullish direction. We have 4 Fed speakers talking this week. We have CPI on Thursday, and then we have bank earnings that start the earnings cycle on Friday. Now, what will the CPI look like? Well, estimates are around 6.5%. We had 7.1% last month, which did cause some excitement in the market because it was lower than the forecast. And you can see just continuously falling inflation, which obviously is really positive. If we get down to the 6.5% range, then we're back at the same levels that we had at the end of 2021, which would obviously be very positive. That's over a year ago that we are back at those inflation levels, and we're actually declining, which is really positive. Now, this is all kind of leading to the crypto market to jump up. I mean, just Bitcoin being up 2% is causing a lot of excitement in altcoins, causing some to go up 25% like Solana. Some are up even more than 25%. Now, I would say a lot of these are the ones that are beaten down more and have been hurt really bad. And some people have sold out of these recently. I mean, heck, I sold Solana a couple weeks ago before the end of the tax year because I could take significant tax benefits from selling it. Some people were giving me a hard time for that. But the fact is, I'll still cover Solana. I might be buying Solana at some point in the future, but there are still some things that are looming over Solana's head. So keep that in mind too, with FTX still being investigated and everything that's going on there. Could still have some red flags, and we may see a pullback because really we've only moved up 2% in Bitcoin, and these are some massive moves from altcoins. So I would caution you, this is a warning. When we move up like this, a lot of people want to reposition, and a lot of people get really, really bullish. But if you've looked over last year, actually over the last year and a couple months, if you bought altcoins you had a very red future. Like you lost a lot of money. Now, Bitcoin is the safest, probably has less upside than some of these altcoins, but we still have a long time before the next halving. And typically we do see a lot of coins just kind of bleed into Bitcoin at some point. If we do see a massive recession, or if we see some bad numbers coming out of CPI or something, we could be right back down. So I would caution against anyone making massive moves now, because we have jumped a decent amount on a lot of these altcoins. Not to say that we won't jump way more, and in the long term, it still might be really smart to hold onto altcoins. But if you're making any drastic moves or trying to go on leverage in the short term, you could get wrecked. So just be careful of that, and be careful of going all in and not keeping enough cash, because now is a pretty interesting time where we're at good valuations if you're looking long term. And who knows, we could continue to see CPI come in lower and lower. We could see a little bit of an altcoin pump, and maybe we just trend sideways from there, but we could see a nice jump off of the bottoms. I'm not trying to be bearish or anything like that, because I am very bullish long term, but every single pump that we've seen over the last year and a half has turned out to be just a fake rally, and then we fall right back down after some more contagion happens and some company blows up. So I'm just saying you should keep some money on the sidelines, because there have been people every single pump they have dumped money in, and I was guilty of that early on as well. I didn't dump all my money by any means, but I would dump a little bit more than I was dumping before, because I thought, Bitcoin at 30,000, well, over the next 10 years, if it still hits like 300,000 or 5 years, right, that's still a 10x. So I'll dump a little bit more in, even though it was just at 25,000, then move back up to 30. It's still a good long-term investment. But in the short term, I could have gotten a much better price if I had just waited a little bit longer, stuck to my plan, which is something that I've done over the last year, and I think it's worked out pretty well. Now, again, not trying to be bearish, just consider that we still have some things looming over the horizon. For example, we still are expecting DCG and Genesis to kind of blow up sometime soon. We just got news, though, a couple days ago of Cameron Winklevoss writing an open letter giving a January 8th deadline for DCG. Now, Barry saw the January 8th deadline as arbitrary and just theater, but now they're getting heat from the DOJ and the SEC, so this has kind of changed the timeline on a lot of things. So be careful. This is still something that could happen in the future, but don't let that throw off your long-term plans. The reason I say that is Mt. Gox now pushed back their registration deadline to March of 2023. And I remember for over a year, actually multiple years, there have been questions over when the Mt. Gox Bitcoin will hit the market. So many people being fearful and thinking that there's just going to be a bunch of people selling Bitcoin on the open market after they get it back because they've held onto it for so long, and now they're finally getting the money. But this just keeps on getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And that might happen with some of these other platforms. I mean, this DCG and Genesis saga could go on for months. So I would suggest still sticking with your long-term plan. Don't change anything up from what you were doing just a couple weeks ago. I mean, I've been dollar cost averaging for a year, and I think that's the best long-term plan, because you don't know when the market's going to go up or go down or go sideways. So I'm just accumulating Bitcoin for the long term. Now, I have added some of the smaller altcoins just when I rebalance out of other small altcoins. For example, when I sold Solana, I didn't just keep it in cash. I bought Ethereum, I bought Bitcoin, and I bought Phantom. I might have bought Polygon too as well. Those are the 4 cryptos I'm holding on to now. So I'm still really bullish long term, but just know any kind of short term pump like this could easily be swallowed up, go right back down. So just keep that in mind, right? Don't make any drastic moves. And while it's exciting to see the market go up, take it with a grain of salt. Hopefully we see good CPI data coming in. Hopefully earnings are still better than expected. Yesterday I made a video on the catalyst coming for Bitcoin, and these are still very relevant. But again, you just don't want to buy into short-term FOMO, because that will wreck you in the long term. I'll say too, not all of my opinions on the crypto market are the same as the stock market. Some stocks like Tesla have been beaten down so much that I still really like Tesla at 122. I still like it at 130. I still like it at 150 for the long term. Just keep in mind that I don't like to buy these pumps. Now, let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. Let me know if you're excited right now, if you are buying or selling, or if you're just sitting on the sidelines, continuing to do what you're doing, dollar cost averaging. Let me know in the comment section. Check out the links to TradingView underneath the video. And if you want to see my posts like this, I give posts like this every single day and tell you what I'm buying and selling in the Patreon. So check that out underneath the video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.